In the previous episode, we talked about picking up the car to drive out there, to drive back, changing fluids and doing maintenance, rebuilding the shifter, removing the cold air intake, installing a short ram intake, and in this episode we talk about the wide body. So after placing the order, we had about a 2-week wait before we can get it. But let's discuss what this kit is and how I come across it. So way back when, about 2013, I was playing this game. The kit was actually created by two entities. One was called Polyphony Digital. The other is Powerhouse Amuse, which is a tuner in Japan. The game was Gran Turismo. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. When I first saw it, it just grabbed me. It was pretty much the only car that I drove in the game. Little did I know, several years later I would have the car and the wide body. So after 2 weeks, the kit arrived. I immediately disrespected the Accord. I started pulling off parts from the S2000, removed the exhaust, the fenders, front and rear bumper. It's time to get to work. So after unwrapping everything, I laid everything out on the lawn, looked over everything. Wasn't too many issues with the kit. I mean, one of the side skirts looked like it was a little warped because it was sitting on the bottom of everything. I went ahead, took a look at the front bumper, and pretty much that's where we started. Assembled all the little small things that had to go on it, and then we proceeded to set it up to the car. And over the next few months, the process went something like this.
Hand it up.
Up it now?
Take it down.
You just...
Take it down. Put it on. Take it off.
I already did all this.
Take it off.
You just tell me why I'm doing this?
Take it off. Hand it up. Take it down. Put it in the ground. Pick it up. Hang up. Take it down. Put it on. Take it off. Put it on the ground. Pick it up.
All jokes aside, this will be my process over the next few months.
Take it down.
Yeah, it was a long, tedious journey. Over the next few months, in the middle of the summer, we dealt with the heat, lots of dust, drilling holes, test fitting, running into roadblocks, looking for things that can just help get this thing put on. Because as it being a kit where there's not a whole lot of information out there as far as instructions, everything is just, you figure it out as you go. Brackets was purchased, had to wait for them to come from Japan. Then you had to figure out where they went. But at the end of the day, we kept it moving. So with the front end tentatively installed, it was time to move around to the side of the car, install the side skirts. This is where it really started to get complicated. because with this kit, every part is connected to the next part. So let's see what this process looks like. So the side skirts is fairly simple. They essentially look like some long skis with a couple fins attached to it. But the complicated part is trying to get your fingers in there to touch the fins while the fender is on, and also aligning it with the rear quarter panel, which we'll get to in a little bit. As I stated earlier, when I did the unpackaging, one of them was like severely warped, so therefore it was bowed out away from the doors. So I had to come up with a solution for that, as far as drilling it straight through the side to get it pulled up against the side of the car, which I did a video of previously. So in the middle of the install, the garage started getting in my way. I had nowhere to sit tools. The floor was killing me, and I didn't have enough light, to work in the evening. So I had to take a break from the car and work on the garage. For the most part, I just had to improve the work area, protecting the floor, increasing my lighting, and having some type of organization with the tools. So I drew up some plans for some cabinets, ordered them, and did the install real quick. Did the lighting, and then it was back to the car. No doubt, the quarter panel was the hardest part of the whole install. The quarter panel has to line up with the body of the car, has to line up with the side skirt, has to line up with the rear bumper, and then the rear bumper has a side diffuser that connects to the quarter panel. So it's like it was really complicated. The right side went on fairly smooth, even though I did break a piece of it, but I can repair that later. The left side was installed, I think, 3 or 4 times before I actually got it right. So that means there are several holes in the side of the body. So the ones that are not being used, I'm going to go back in and fill them in. So the quarter panels are drilled into the side of the car using some self-tappers. Self-tappers are temporary. They're going to be replaced eventually with some riv nuts. Another small piece is the gas cap door. I'm not sure how I'm going to use it, if I'm going to use it. Not really sure how I feel about how it looks, but I'll work that out in a little bit. But for the most part, quarter panels are installed. Everything's lined up onto the rear bumper. The rear bumper was really simple to install, but I had to source a few parts before I can get it to fit the way it's supposed to. The first thing was the American impact beam was in the way, and it wasn't allowing me to push it all the way on. So I had to source a new bar, which is a Japanese spec bar, which is not very stout compared to the American bar, but I decided to use it. I'd rather use that than nothing. The next thing was to install the license plate bracket. Apparently in Japan they use a bracket that connects directly to the tub of the trunk. So I had to order that, drill some holes in the tub of the trunk, install some riv nuts, and then bolt it into place. So with those pieces in place, I was able to dry fit the bumper. Everything lined up pretty good. Now it was on to adding the side diffusers, the under tray, and tying it all together. Lots of shifting, a lot of installing, dry fitting, taking it back down, realigning, pulling things tighter slowly so you didn't crack stuff. I got lucky with some Amuse GT1 brackets. I just so happened to be looking and come across these things. There was no photos in the actual item online. It was like $100 something, so I just winged it and bought them. It took about a month before I got them, and there was a big help getting this stuff put on, or I could have ended up making my own brackets. But as you can see, it's starting to come together. I'd be lying if I said it looked good. It actually looked like it's all over the place, kind of ugly. But I know what the end result will be. Once the wheels and the hard top goes on, it'll all come together. One final look at the rear, and we talk about the exhaust briefly. Here's a few examples of where the exhaust is supposed to come out. As you can see, it's coming out of the back bumper. Because I'm doing this on my own, I'm not looking to get any help with it. I'm not able to do any welding. I decided to run mine out of the bottom. So I was going to do a custom cut, in which I did in the previous video. But I'm going to let these pictures roll by so you can just get the gist of what was done. For the most part, I drew out a template, drew it onto the undercarriage or on the under tray in the bumper area, and I just started cutting. The idea was to remove the least amount of material and try to keep the cut as close as possible. The reason why I'm documenting this the way that I am is, and hopefully, you know, the next 20-30 years from now I'll be able to look back on this and look at how I did pretty much the last car. I don't think I'm gonna do another car like this. If I do, I'll be paying somebody else to do it. One of the things I hate though was my very first car. You know, I lost a lot of the footage on an old cell phone. I wasn't able to recover it. That car was the first car. I hit a deer, fixed it back up, then it got stolen, and you know, eventually I ended up with my Honda Accord after that. Still got it to this day. So sometimes it's good to just take time and document what you got going on. Maybe this whole thing might be a failure. Maybe it'll look great, but at least I got something I can go back and see where I came from. Like I said, when you come from where I come from, North Philly, you don't even dream about having a car. So if you can get one, you made some progress. Well, I got 3. Maybe I can get some more.